Super GG Radio is an NPR of Illinois Community Voices podcast and brought to you by our Patreon and the Giving for Good network. The GG Network is a platform for content creators to elevate independent artists while leveraging Patreon for charity. If you subscribe to our Patreon, you can have a say in what we make, what indie games we cover, and help spread the word. Find us at patreon.com/superggradio or givinggood.network to learn more.
What's good, Internet, and welcome to session 264 of Super GG Radio, where friends chat about video games and all things adjacent. Well, all hell broke loose, and now there's just two of us on Planet Super GG Radio. I'm your host, and don't tell the other guys. I am your host and dedicated run function of the podcast, Eric Getty Gettinger. With me, as always, is guy who's always spamming jump, no matter the situation, Alex Orona.
That's how you get them stat points. You get them boosts. At least in my day. Back in my day.
That was one game.
Back in my day. I did that all day, every day.
I don't know that we had a day when it came to games.
Back in my day, people were just falling from the sky. Corpses. From the sky, Getty.
What is this? Where are we going?
This is a very specific reference to a very specific game that hardly anybody's going to get, and that's okay. We're not going to say it.
All right.
I'm not going to say it. You're not going to say it. We're going to keep going with this mystery game. If you know what mystery game we're talking about, email us at mail@superggradio.com, and we will provide you a code with said mystery game, as well as one of our beta games. When it goes 1.0. I'm gonna keep hawking these games and no one's gonna write in.
Somebody's gotta write in, right?
All of our podcasts are secret podcasts, Getty.
Well, so there's two of us this week. So it is just Alex and I, but we are still gonna power through and we're still gonna have an episode and we're gonna have fun with it if it is the last thing that we do. So,
and it will be. We may die at the end of this podcast.
I hope not. Like I have to go to a work seminar this weekend, so let's hope that I don't.
You might die before the end of this podcast.
I'm not going to get reimbursed for my flight.
I mean, you're not going to get reimbursed for this podcast time either. We
can't get these minutes back. Reimbursed.
We can not get these minutes back.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
These podcasts
are
all right. Generally 90 minutes and times 264. Let's do a quick, rough, dirty math on this, right? 90 minutes on average times 264, 23,000.
Now you have to figure it into days. Figure it into days.
It's 23,760. Now, how many minutes are in a day? Hit me up, Getty. Well, how many minutes are in a day?
That's a real question, right?
Yes, that's a real question.
Well, in the average day?
Yes.
Are we doing an average day?
Average
Not like
day.
a fun day.
Let's do this, man. This podcast is already off the rails, and I'm ready to be.
We're going to do mental math. I am not busting out the calculator because I'm done with that. So you got 24 hours, right? You got 60 minutes to the hour, so you got two 10-hour increments. So that's 1,200 minutes, and then we have to pick up the slack with another 240. So that's 1,440 minutes that you have to live through a day.
Okay, so divided by 1,440 is 16 days of podcasting. 16 and a half.
That's it.
16.5.
That seems low.
Well, you have to think that somebody would have to eat, sleep, drink our podcast. Not like there would be no sleep for them on loop for 16 days. That's 2 weeks, Getty. That's as much as that's more than the average American gets in vacation days. We're doing stats here.
I get way more than that.
These are real numbers, people.
I get a criminal amount of vacation days.
Yeah.
Are they really?
What?
So I get
most people get 2
31
weeks.
days vacation.
Most people get 10. They start at 10. If you're lucky, you get 15.
31. I still have 17 to use this year.
That's messed up, man. Getty.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get there. We're having too much fun already. All right, so we're going to get claw game skill going for the early adopters this week. grind through the news. I'm going to get wealthy in the backlog. Cha-ching! And then I decided I'm going to bust out a new segment just on Alex tonight.
That's not fun.
I'm pulling a you, like, when we get there, you'll find out. I got a script, man.
Oh, you got a script?
I got a script.
Ooh, I love a good script, man. I better shotgun another beer for this.
Ooh. You don't have, like, it on hand, do you? No,
I do. I have 4 of them. I have 4 of them in this room right now. Let's go.
4? Oh, boy. Okay. We're going to move on to early adopters.
I tried to drink 2 at the same time. That did not work.
Internet could see you.
I tried to drink 2 at the same time. That did not work. I made a mess.
How much made it down your shirt? Like a fair amount?
70% of what 70% of what I poured.
You're throwing a lot of numbers at the listeners this week. I hope
I really am. Let's do this.
All right, early adopters, where we play alphas, betas, and games that rock our faces off. You want to talk about Genokids?
Let's talk about Genokids.
You want me to talk about Genokids?
I'm into talking about Genokids. Genokids. Right. Is anybody going to talk about Genokids here? Genokids.
Somebody definitely played this.
Yeah, it's a 3D hack and slash, a little bit of Devil May Cry. A little bit of platforming. I feel like the platforming could have been better. Platforming could have been better.
The platforming can be summed up with one button. It was just like, run on this wall.
Or that part? Yeah, okay, so I was thinking just jumping from platform to platform, but also I couldn't even make half of those jumps, so I had to do the dodge, the mid-air, like jump, then dodge forward, and then land, because the dodge gave you a little extra
That's how you do it.
Okay.
Yeah. That was how it was designed to do. It did not explicitly tell you to do that, so I definitely fell off the face of the earth once, and then I was like, oh, come on. There's no double jump.
I did like 4 times.
So you have to figure out how to do it. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like a bunch. Okay, Genokids. It is a 3D hack and slash. You get I got a main melee attack. Then you get a super. You also get a dodge, which also, if you hold the dodge longer than just pressing it, you get a block, like a very short block. So there's the dodge takes like half a second, but the block will take a second and a half. So you really do get a little bit of block, but you can't hold it forever. It does go away. And then I'm trying to think what else. The super is on one of your triggers. And then what else we got? There was another one, right?
There's a super, but there's charge abilities. So by attacking enemies, you'll get enough charge, and then you can do different attacks. But you can swap between characters. Let's talk about those characters, though. Who did you prefer to use as your main?
The cool girl with a sick Buster sword.
The emo-ish girl with stockings and a sword.
Getty, I have a type.
It's emo girls with stockings and a big sword. You didn't like the himbo that just did melee attacks? No. So I like the attacks that the guy had. However, all of them, it felt like they were so deliberate. Like, you really had to move up to the enemies if you were going to do the charge attacks. And the enemies weren't going to wait around for you to do anything. They throw stuff at you. They're constant. Some of the little guys like jump at you. They physically just throw themselves to damage you.
Yep.
Other guys explode. So not a super variety of enemies that we saw in this, but they were mean. They were constantly coming after us.
Yeah, and the other part is that there was also you could like color coded attacks. So like their blue attack cannot be blocked or dodged, or it can't be blocked. So you had to dodge out of the way and get far away. But like you said, like you'll be fighting 3 enemies, and behind you someone is charging a blue attack explosion that's just gonna rock you in the face. And I definitely got to the boss, and I was definitely getting just getting my face rocked like back and forth, like because when you get hit, it kind of freezes everything and throws you back almost like in a slow-mo motion. So then it's just like really jarring. It's not I got hit but I kept going. No, you get hit and you are just like destroyed.
It's like a stun lock.
Yes.
You really have to avoid you have to avoid getting hit or get good with your blocks.
And that's definitely what kept happening to me, was that like if I got hit once, I was getting hit 4 times minimum.
Yeah, but so did you end up clearing the boss?
I did not clear the boss.
Okay. So one of the things that saved me towards the end is that I figured, well, it wasn't really a secret, but when you hit your super, you regain health. But it's a gradual regain. It's not like you get a chunk back.
Oh,
so
I didn't realize
between that and just sitting on the boss every second that I got and just wailing away, that's how I did it. You just really had to run up. Except for that swoop attack, that was rough stuff, man.
You had to like dodge it. You had to preemptively dodge it because you got like a quick flash of it. Yeah, there was a bunch of them. Also, there was I'm trying to think. There was some other parts of it that I felt like, oh yeah, this was pretty. Oh, and that boss, there was like pink cubes.
And you could destroy those.
Yeah, did that do anything? Because again, not explicitly stated.
So I was using it more to charge my attacks, and you also got part of the super by destroying them.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like it was making a huge difference, but if I could not get close enough to the boss, like it was using a laser attack, then I would jump up and I'd try to destroy as many of those as I can to recover some of my cooldowns to do more damage than I already was, because you got to do damage.
It was very cool looking, and then there would do these portions that were the platforming, where if you hit the left trigger, it would like magnetize you to a point, like a grapple point, but you weren't grappling, you were just jumping up to it. And then there would be like, oh, jump from thing to thing, or jump from onto the post, then jump wall run, jump onto the other wall run, and then land. But there wasn't really any control there. It was just hit the hit the left trigger, then hit the left trigger again at the right timing, which was like super crazy, because I was like, wow, this is kind of really taking the guesswork out of this whole platforming thing, right? Whereas do I have to keep my momentum while running? No, I don't have to touch the controller. I just have to hit the thing.
Yeah, I felt like that definitely needs to be fleshed out a bit more. It didn't feel like I wanted to do more with it, you know? I enjoy some platforming. I enjoy a challenge, and there were some areas that you could like jump down to, or you could try and explore, but I'm missing just like some other pickups. You know what I mean? You could pick up health, but you're not picking up anything else. I think I've just been so desensitized.
You need like a collectible or something?
Like currency or something, so that, you know,
stat
maybe
points.
the characters
am I gonna boost my attack damage, or am I gonna be able to swap abilities out? Like,
you do get style points when you're finishing battles. So what do those do? Alex, I want my style points.
I feel like at a certain point you should be able to like get a new super, or get a new ability, or get something else instead of the block. And then you could, you know, swap them in and out, make it like customize your character, right? If we were to customize our characters, your build could look completely different than mine. My playstyle could be different.
Yeah, it feels like this is trying to piggyback a bit on the success of Hi-Fi Rush with the way that you have these super moves. When you complete combos and attack enemies, you get this gauge that goes up, and it says like cool or awesome, that kind of thing. But I want to see more. You know, the game advertises that you'll eventually get to play as 4 different characters, because all of them are in this band, and they're rocking out, and they're melting people's faces, and then these aliens attack. But we really don't get much of that. You just get dropped right into this demo after the aliens attack. I like a little bit of plot, a little bit of story to go with my demos.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, do you like between the 2 characters we got to play? Did they really feel like they were just totally different, or were they kind of the same, except for the lady had a big sword and the guy had like fist weapons, so he was more punchy, so he had less range, but he was still like, if you one of the other things is that you can knock people in the air and air juggle them, which is like, sure, awesome, but to what end? That's why I was saying, like, imagine if you could change it from a block to a parry, right? Then it's a whole other thing. You knock the opponent's back, and now you can do bonus damage, and you get more style points for parrying instead of blocking. Like, there is a world here. And there was a game that we played. What was it called? I can't remember. Where it was two characters. We played a
lot of games.
No, there was a character that was a drummer, and the girl was a guitarist, and it was kind of like this, where you're hacking and slashing.
Oh, I know the name of that game, but do we? No, we're not going to penalize the listeners. No Straight Roads.
No Straight Roads. Yes, but in that case, you were able to, swap in abilities. When I do my right trigger ability, it's different than when someone else did, because mine was, I changed it and I customized my character.
Yeah, equip your stickers and all the other cool stuff that we had in that game. So
yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is that, like, there is room for that. There is a way to do that. We've seen it before, so it's kind of weirdly like, I wish that we could have seen some of that here.
I mean, again, this is just a small sample because there's still 2 other characters. There may even be a lot more depth to this game that we just didn't get to see.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, no, a very, very well put together combat system. I think that there's just some things that are to be desired right now. I'm sure that there's plenty of more in the works, but gotta really drill down and see, what do you have? I need it.
Yeah, because right now it's an impressive display as it stands.
Yeah, I could definitely get behind some Genokids.
Oh yeah,
but you know what else I can get behind?
Ooh, Dungeon Clawler.
It's only a matter of time before one of us mispronounces Clawler.
Yeah,
because I really want to say Crawler, but
I've Googled this game a bunch, just looking at, like, promotional docs or just release dates and information, and each time it's like, did you mean Dungeon Crawler? No, I did not. Thank you.
No, I want to claw my way through the dungeon. But that's what you're doing. I could take this one because I play games like this.
Yeah.
So Dungeon Clawler, I could tell. I could tell that Genokids was for you and Dungeon Clawler was for me. So
also, shout out to Mary Kish who pointed this out to me.
Oh, there we go. Best friend of the podcast, Mary Kish. Casual acquaintance.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, that sounds more.
She's aware of us.
Okay. I'm aware of us too, unfortunately. But what Dungeon Clawler is, it is one of those rogue-like games where you are progressing through a dungeon, and usually you have some kind of hitch or some kind of thing that really sets it apart. And this one is all based around a claw machine. So imagine, if you will, in order to participate in a battle with enemies, you have a claw machine, and you're using the claw to grab and pick up your different things. So swords that deal damage, a shield that prevents you from taking damage, it adds block to you. But as you progress further and further into the dungeon, you get new stuff that drops into the machine, and then you have to strategically use not only your claw dropping ability, but the other things that are in there to maximize your damage and get further. This is a crazy game.
Yeah, and unlike most the average claw game, you 90% of the time get a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Well, this is 2-dimensional. We specify that. It's just a 2D, so you don't have to worry about a third dimension. All you do is move the claw back and forth, and then you can drop it. And then it'll scoop up a good amount. There were a couple of times when I got nothing.
Yeah, that happened twice in my run.
Disheartening, because you're like, oh man, but that's what it's like usually when you play a claw machine in real life.
But in this game, I got nothing, and that means I'm going to get hit in the face a bunch.
Yeah, and because it is one of these rogue dungeon crawlers, you are getting like upgrades after every fight. So at one point I had like a water bottle, and then I also had a poison bath bomb. So all of the little fluffs in the machine, because there's filler in this claw machine, they would turn into poison bits, and then I could grab them, drop them on the enemy, and then they would take poison damage each turn.
Oh wow!
But
Okay, so I never went down the route of the fluffs. The fluffs really they turned into gold for me, but that was kind of it.
Okay.
My route was more that you could get permanent upgrades on your character, and I was just constantly hitting people with like any attack period, poison people. And then I also had it where if I killed somebody and they were poisoned, it would poison the next person.
Nice. Yeah,
so
you got to
really
stack
was
that
like,
poison.
Yeah, and then I had poison grenades everywhere. So I was really just kind of like stacking all of it, all the poison everywhere. I said had someone that had like 14 poison at one point.
Yeah, so usually the way that poison works in these kind of games is that each round it'll go down by 1. So 14, the next turn it'll do 13 damage, 12 damage, unless you stack more, in which case it'll progressively continue to do more damage over time. So, there were a lot of things that I wanted to play with and wanted to try out. The run that I had seemed to go on for quite a while, though.
Yeah.
It was... I did wishlist this game, but I can definitely see playing this game in short bursts. The only issue that I have with it is that the run seemed to go very long. And I want this to be like, if it's not going well, to break off at a certain point, or realize much sooner than the 4th level of the dungeon that I completely spec'd incorrectly. That kind of thing.
Yeah, because I could tell you right now that you're like, yeah, there was a difficulty spike. I'm like, was there? I don't know. The last boss, he barely got me at the end. I actually just had a bad kind of couple of pulls.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about the game is that since it's a roguelike, you are kind of trying to manage a lot of different things. Specifically, for me was your health. I had a lot of magic wands that if I used them, they would do 3 damage and heal me for 3. And so I was stacking those quite a bit. So I was always pretty capped out on health. And then right before the boss, I had a fight that I was like, I don't know, this is pretty easy. I mean, these guys took me down from 100 to 70. I'll be fine for the boss. And there were magic wands I could have just started grabbing. But I just was like, let's just finish them off with some swords. I'm fine. And that kind of boned me in the end. But there was there was a lot of extra features to it. Magnets were big. Did you use those a lot or no?
I don't think I saw any magnets.
Crazy. Okay, so magnets, they suck in a bunch of stuff to them. And then
I did not see this.
Yeah, so if I grabbed a magnet, it would bring up a bunch of different daggers and swords and shields. But if I upgraded the magnet, it just gave me a giant lump of stuff. So I would drop at some point. I think at one point I dropped 12 swords that were just boom, 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 boom. Okay, next guy, boom, 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 boom. Next guy, boom, boom. And so it really was it was pretty satisfying to hit that magnet run and then just upgrade the magnets pretty consistently, and also upgraded the wands because you do get blacksmiths that you could find throughout your run. There's very linear paths with a couple of different splits with different fights and different stuff.
It would let you go one of 2 directions, so it would branch
3.
And then but the base tile at the division, it would disappear, so you couldn't go back and try the other route. So you were just going on that linear path until you got to the boss.
Yeah, that kind of bummed me out because I wanted more. I was like, give me another fight.
I'd like that, though, because it was not so straight that you could just... There was one section where it branched into 2, but there were multiple spots that I could traverse. And instead of... I could have just gone to the blacksmith and then gone straight to the boss. I didn't, because there was another fight that was above that. So I just walked over, did the blacksmith, then walked up to do the boss. I could have just walked past him.
Yeah, that's true.
That's nice. I like when I don't have to fight, but I really like the combat in it.
Yeah, and then you said I was using the water bottle. I never used it. What did it filled the tank?
Yeah,
with water to what end?
So all of your metal stuff sinks to the bottom, and all of the lighter stuff lifts.
Like what? What was light enough to lift?
All of the fluffs that were poison.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, that would have been absolutely useless for me.
Yeah, because you would have to spec for it, and that's what I was trying to do.
Oh, okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. See, again, that customability, like the fact that your build was completely different, and I saw nothing like that. You didn't see magnets,
dude. I didn't see magnets.
Magnets were sick, and like you know how like you upgrades you use gold. My magnets, there's a hand, the Midas touch that turns all the fluff to gold. And so I got the Midas touch, turned all my fluff to gold, and then instantly all of it magnetized to my super magnet. Just grab a giant pile of swords and gold, and I'm like, well, this is pretty sweet. So I was just upgrading, and constantly like, and it's one of those, you start out with like 5 defense, and then as you grab shields, that'll bump up the defense, because when the enemy turn happens, they will attack, taking away the defense first, and then attacking your normal health.
Right.
So I just, sometimes I would get things like a spike shield. So if they attacked me, it would actually hurt them. And, I would get a hammer, a giant hammer that would give me a shield and hit really hard. You do get a lot of different variability.
Yep. I wish listed this right away. I was like, yeah, I need more of this.
Yeah, same. I wish listed it. It did feel like I was like, this feels really easy, like you said, and then it's like kind of funny. I'm like, I also just beat Balatro today, so maybe it's just my day. You know what I mean?
It very well could be, but what? So completely off topic, definitely about Balatro.
Yes.
What were you doing? Just regular run? Were you trying to fun deck, or did you try and do like a more higher up ante that you were going after?
Well, actually, I had bought Balatro on PC after I'd already beaten it a couple times on Switch, because I also felt like I'm running out of, like, I'm in a boring meeting games, considering that the new Power Wash Simulator DLC, they just did an update with bonus side missions, and I beat that in a day, so I was in a lot of boring meetings today. So I was like, I need something else. So Balatro, and then I was like, oh, you know what? And it just happened to be a good flush run, which it's actually very funny because I never felt comfortable. Usually when you're on a winning run, you kind of know it. Like, like, oh, I'm getting like 100K.
Mm-hmm.
And I never got there. I was always kind of just a wing and a prayer. And every boss took 3 turns. Like the full 3 turns. And I'm like, I don't know how.
That'll make you sweat.
Yeah, and so I didn't, like, I was like, this is not going to happen. And also, I've only played Balatro on my PC like 4 times, so I'm not going to get it. And I just kept doing it, and I was just like, and it was a flush run, and I just kept like, well, this Joker stinks, and I'd sell it, get a new one, and then I would, like, then I'd use it for 2 rounds and be like, I'm done with this one, and get a new one. I just kept doing that. I was going wild, Getty. It was wild, fast and loose. No plan. I was even before the last boss, I had already just replaced one of my Jokers. I was like, I don't know, let's try this one. And I don't know how that happened. And it took like 4 turns. I had a Joker that gave me like 4 turns, and I had it was 5 turns. I had 5 turns, and the first 3 turns I got 25K, and then the 4th turn I got nothing. I had 300. And I was like, well, this is real not good.
That's real stressful.
Yeah, so it was just a strange run. I was like, huh, that was weird. And I wasn't even like hyped. I was just like, that didn't feel good. It felt awful.
Right.
It felt awful the whole time.
Let's call this a wash.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you won. I was like, did I? I don't know if I did. That felt gross.
Okay. I only asked because the last time I went back, I was like, you know what? Let's try and do one of the more difficult versions of this deck.
Yeah.
So I did, I think it goes like from red to black. I don't remember. It's something.
Yeah, I unlocked a bunch of them today. So again, I unlocked hardly anything, and all of a sudden it was like, well, it's going to be about like 10 minutes of just unlocks, because I just kept selling Jokers and upgrading Jokers and buying random ones that I had not discovered before, because I was like, whatever.
None of this matters. All right. Yeah, so that's early adopters. Let's scoop up a handful of break here. How's that sound?
I'm into it.
You like a handful of break? All right, we'll be back. All right, this is the news with Super GG Radio. Now with 50% less cast members. Fwah, fwah, fwah.
Fwah, 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 fwah. It's fine. It's fine.
It's just us.
We're alive.
There's two of us.
And there's nothing they can do about it.
We should... Today would be the perfect day to pick the next video game homework.
It's not any of us.
I know, but you could... Alex, you're president and CEO of Super GG.
I could announce the next game of shame. I mean, I can always do that.
You could, if you have something.
I always have something, Getty. I'm always playing something shameful.
All right. Well, I'm just throwing it out there. Otherwise, we have to go through the news.
Yep.
We have to.
The news is newsing.
If we don't, then
we're snoozing.
How are the audience members? Nope, we're not live. How are the listeners going to know about the news this week?
They'll never know.
They don't use
else.
the internet.
Yeah.
All right.
The internet. Who uses the internet?
Here we go.
Ooh, my GERD is acting up. Oh
no. If Alex goes down, I don't know what to do. I guess I have to take this as a one-man show.
I like how you don't even like, should I get help? You're like, no, I should just...
What am I going to do? Call 911 and be like, hey, my friend is at home. Can you go save him? Hold on. I don't even know your address. That's the problem.
Oh, God, Getty, this is the worst.
Hold on.
Give me some news, quick.
Yeah, okay. Warframe. Really? Yeah. Warframe adding in romance system.
Yeah.
What are you romancing?
It's more. It's funnier to think that in a game that has 1,001 systems, they're adding in another.
Why? I don't get it.
I don't know. They're still going, man. They're still wild. There's a whole Matrix system now.
I told somebody, one of the guys at work was like, oh yeah, I played Warframe. And I was like, but did you play it long enough to find out that you're in the Matrix? And he was like, what? It's like, yeah. I don't know how many hours in that is, but...
And I didn't even get that far. I was like 30 hours in or something, or 20 hours in.
Still not out of the Matrix?
And I got to the first twist. The first twist, it's Evangelion. Now,
there you go.
And then it's like probably another 30 hours to get to the Matrix twist.
That game is everything. Does it need a romance system?
I mean, while I was playing, they added in a mech system / like they already had kind of like a air battle, like you're in a floating Gundam system. But then they added by the way, you can get a battleship and have a crew, and then they will have like battles in space, and everybody gets in their Gundam and jumps out of your ship to go fight each other in space.
I 100% don't understand what Warframe is at this point.
It's a series of it's a menu game, Getty. You select from a menu a mission, and it tells you, oh great, it's this type of mission, and then you do the mission. That's what it is.
Do I have to do the mission?
I mean, you pick and choose what missions you want to do, but if you do the right order, stuff happens.
And do I need to be online for this?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But the missions are pretty cool. Like, again, sometimes you're on a giant ship and you have to get in your Gundam, which you also had to do a whole bunch of missions to level up and grind for materials and then build the Gundam.
Ugh.
And then once you
how many hours did it take for you to build your Gundam?
I mean, it playtime or in-game idle time, because it is a free-to-play system, Getty. So when you go to build something, it's like, this will take 6 hours, and we mean 6 hours.
Of you sitting in the menus?
I just walk away or I come back tomorrow.
Okay, but you don't have to be logged in.
No.
Okay. Well, that's a little bit better. But
yes, but it's like
worse.
I guess I could do other missions, but they aren't going to move forward the story.
No, then definitely not. Okay. Well,
It's pretty
Go
fun.
check out the new romance system in Warframe.
Yeah, I like Warframe.
This one, not so nice. Humble Games, shuttered by IGN.
I definitely misspelled that.
Who did?
I did.
Oh, don't worry about it. I do like the idea of shuddering.
I shuddered at the thought of this news. It's a bummer though, because like they still have games, like they're finishing up the games in development, but I like put it like somebody is, not them, because everyone's been fired.
Right.
But I think Path of the Teal Lotus is one of those.
I mean, that is out though, right?
It just came out.
That's the one that Alec is all about, right?
Yep, and that's a Humble game. I think that might have been one of their last ones. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm looking at the ones they published. Signalis, Wizard of Legend 2, Blood. Blood we played on this podcast. No, we missed Blood. I think we missed Blood. Hashtag Blood, I think we missed it.
Did we? Somebody played it.
Yeah.
Not me.
Let's see here.
You got the Temtem?
What? Oh, Temtem. Minoko's Night Market, Stray Gods, the role-playing musical. Infinite Guitars. There's infinite guitars in that game.
Void Bastards. I played that.
Proteus. Midnight Fight Express.
Uh-huh.
Unpacking. Into the Pit.
Oh, not Unpacking.
Unsighted. Yeah, there's a lot of good games here. Humble did good work for the short time they were around.
Man, that's a huge bummer.
It really is. It really is. You know, I don't know. And it was kind of just a very short notice. Someone just like posted on the internet, oh, by the way, our entire team's been fired. And from what I'm told, that's the whole rest of the company.
That's going to hurt.
What are you doing, IGN?
Nothing of value, right?
At least not right now.
No, I don't know what they do in the first place. What do they just like give people the news?
Kind of.
Is that what they get paid to do?
I'll ask my friends at IGN. I have a couple.
All right. Well, then they can pay us to do this, right?
I'll ask my friends at IGN. Hey, what happened at IGN?
What do you guys do over there?
Yep.
Because it's not gaming stuff.
I know what one of the anime game reviewers. She's an anime.
Oh,
like that's literally her beat. She goes, "Yeah, I play only anime games." I was like, "That's."
There's
cool.
a whole just subset of anime games.
Well, you've played a bunch of anime games. For
I know. I play anime games and all things adjacent.
Yep, and anime-related products.
Probably. All right, Capcom. Considering how to make Mega Man games on a regular basis. So it took this long?
It's more that Capcom is on a real bit. Like everybody's talking about Capcom is just W after W after W. Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Street Fighter is back, Marvel vs. Capcom. Like everyone is just super hyped on the Capcom these days. So they've been doing little like surveys here and there of like what should we do next? Who should we what one of our IPs would you like to see like back again? And it seems like everyone's still pretty hot on Mega Man.
That was a jam back in the day.
And it's been a long time since the last one. I think the last one was 2017, maybe. I think it was.
It's been 84 years.
Yeah. So the next talk is, would be the next Mega Man game. They're trying to figure that out, how they can revamp Mega Man, make it cool again, and then how can they make it a hit that they can do on a very, a long clip, a la, Resident Evil or Monster Hunter.
So, Capcom, pretty fly, huh?
Let's get them W's, boys.
All right, just a couple of 1.0s. There we go. First one, Parasite.
Parasite. Yeah, this was a. We are Undertale without being Undertale. We played this like 2 or 3 years ago.
Years?
Yes, it was pretty early on. It was like year 2 that we played Parasite. Para, Parasight. and then Chlorophyll. Very Undertale-esque. And it is now 1.0.
Took them long enough, right?
Hey, good games can only get one shot to get released.
Yep.
Unless you're No Man's
Do it
Sky.
right.
Unless you're No Man's Sky.
Or you work for Bethesda and then you just take a nice steamy dump and put it into a jewel case and hand it to all of your fans and be like, oh, here you go. We'll fix it in 6 months.
There we go.
It took me a while to get there, but I definitely did. And then Dream Sweeper goes 1.0.
This one was it when we played it like this year. Minesweeper.
Yes, but with a dreaming girl.
Yep. So if you want to play a different way of playing Minesweeper, Dream Sweeper. So 1.0.
Oh my. Looks like Alex's rumor mill is back at it again.
Insert the rumor mill music.
Is there music now?
Mm-hmm.
It's real music or
Big
fictional
brother,
music?
Big brother from the site, Phil, said, "You want rumor mill music? I'll give you rumor mill music."
All right. We got music.
The rumors that have just come out is that there's been a data breach. Data miners have dug deeper into multiverses, and the newest information they have found is that Barbie, Powerpuff Girls, and the character Marceline from Adventure Time will probably be upcoming characters.
Nice.
The other rumor mill has been that Tales of Exalia is remastered, is rumored.
Really?
Yes.
When do you think that's going to come out then?
I'm not sure, but I will say is that I've only played a couple of Tales games. I played I've played Tales of, oh man, I can't even think the Tales of Arise.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, I played Tales of Destiny, which was the first one on PS2 or PS1. I've played Tales of Symphonia for a brief bit.
Yeah, I didn't make it very far in that either.
Yeah, that one dragged a little bit. Yeah, I beat Tales of Destiny for PS1. That's about the extent of my thing. That was not the first one, but it was like pretty early on. I think the other ones were, I don't know if those were Tales of Symphonia. No, that's an old, or that's a newer one. I think there was one other one for like SNES in Japan only or something. Tales of Destiny was the first one for America, I want to say.
I made a very valiant effort at Tales of Arise, and I'm a third of the way through it, but man, those cutscenes really...
It's like 30 minutes.
You have to dedicate the time to it. I'm just thinking about, man, I feel like I did a good job making it as far as I did, and then every time I'd make it a little bit further, I'd be like, ugh, it's starting to weigh on me.
It's like
Maybe I'll make it back.
It's like I played Xenoblade Chronicles. And I was like, man, it was a fun game, but I've also played 40 hours, and I'm a third of the way through this game. I think I might be done.
I did that with 2, but there are just some games like that, you know?
Yeah, just go and go. Last piece of rumor mill, because this was not on the dock here. Let's see, let me grab my...
I don't think that this is rumor mill. I think that this might actually be a thing.
Well, it has not been officially announced yet.
So, no? Well, no. The announcement being that it is being remade. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, but there's no announcement yet. This is just like, because San Diego Comic-Con is
a thing.
Is starting tomorrow.
No, it's really starting tomorrow.
What's that?
The Olympics.
Oh yeah, skateboarding! Let's do this. But also San Diego Comic-Con is starting, and people are starting to sneak in and take snippets and footage of different things, and one of them is Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. Hell yeah. I am into this. I like those games a bunch. Legacy of Kain series, Soul Reaver, The Dead Shall Rise. There's already a bunch of toys and figurines, and people are posting footage.
So it has to be real, right?
Maybe. Again, we won't know till tomorrow.
So we're breaking the news before everybody else?
No, I mean, this is kind of how podcasting works. Obviously, we are setting the podcast at a certain date, and then people will already have found out whether this is true or not by then.
No, I don't like that.
It's fine.
I either want to be 100% right or 100% wrong. There's no middle ground.
Oh, no, we will be. We just have to find out by tomorrow, and then the audience will find out after we've already found out.
That's right, audience. We're talking about you.
You, the listener.
You, Joel, while you're mowing your lawn.
Is that the only thing you know about him, is that occasionally he mows the lawn?
No, I figured that's when he listens to podcasts.
Oh.
He's going to sit in his house after he's done letting the kids go to bed with a nice snifter of brandy and put on our podcast. No, he's going to listen to it while he's doing something else.
That's true. I usually wash the dishes.
While you're listening to podcasts?
Yep, absolutely.
I drive. That's when I get my listening in.
I mean, I do that too, but I also don't drive too much. You drive more than me.
I drive.
Yep.
I drive.
You drive the trucks.
I'd hope not. Freebies?
Freebies!
Freebies! We got freebies for freebies. You ready to do this, Alex?
I am.
All right. Fist Forged in Shadow Torch on the Epic Game Store.
This is a 2D platforming action, fighter game. You're a character, what looks to be a bunny, an anthropomorphic bunny with a giant mechanized fist, and you're using it to fight and to fist everything in sight. It looks pretty cool.
How much fisting?
I mean, it seems like quite a lot. I mean, I could tell you it's probably it is forged. It is. Oh, that's not helpful. Come on, give it to me.
If you don't know, Alex is typing in how much
it's
fisting
12 and a
is there
half.
in fist.
12 and a half hours on average of fisting.
I feel like after that, you're gonna need a break, aren't you?
Well, first we gotta go through 2 more freebies, but also this one's been on my radar for a while. It's been wishlisted for a bit, so I've been aware of the fist.
Cabbage Ball on Steam.
Cabbage Ball is a thrilling skill-based competitive handball game that incorporates magical abilities and sports. So you will grab a ball and you whip it into that goal, but also you get abilities like ground pounds, dashes, and the ability to lay traps on the field. This actually looks kind of cool. It's a play test, but if you request access, you get instant access.
Instant?
If you click on request access, you get access.
So we should all be requesting access right now.
If you want to get Cabbage Ball.
All right. Mm-hmm. Last one. Escape from Heion Island on Steam.
First-person 3D platformer with unique controls, where you find yourself on an island with happy inhabitants, and you try to escape. This is like one of those, wacky. I gotta go through all of these traps and platforms and skill challenges to collect stars. So it's like a little platforming mini game. Very much in the way of like a Mario 64 graphic style. And you're collecting stars, which is very similar. Again, they look very similar to the Mario 64 stars. But legally different.
Just different enough, is what you're saying.
Yep, that's how that works.
All right. So, that sure was a lot of fisting, Alex.
How much fisting was it, Getty?
12 hours worth.
Enough to need a break.
All right, see you on the other side. And we're back with the Backlog Blog, where we play games. Well, some of us play games others of us aren't here this week. Am I right?
Oh, you are so right. I played so many games. Way more games. Some would say more games than I've ever played.
You only get to talk about one.
But I've been told that I play games the best out of everybody. And I play the most. Who told
you that?
And I play the most games. People say all the time, Alex, you play the most games. And I say, wow.
You sound like a presidential candidate right now.
President-elect.
Not committing to anything. not quite saying anything about anything. But you're confirming to everybody that you did the thing.
I had heard that, people say that Hannibal Lecter's a really good guy.
Nobody said that. Nobody. I don't think he's a good guy. I imagine that he probably holds a pretty good conversation, but I also heard that he eats you.
Great conversationalist.
But the conversation that we're going to have about you playing multi-medium.
Hell yeah, multi-medium. Multi-medium was an early adopter game that is a 2D platformer where you are a quote-unquote like astronaut spaceman, but you are going to another dimension, and the dimensions are based on the art style. So you'll get pencil and pen, acrylics, watercolors, etc.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. It was pretty fun. There's a lot of different variations on the types of art that you go through. I definitely saw like a lot of there was some like 3D early like computer art at one point. The story ends up kind of being that like your character is like, well, I guess I'm kind of a god, right? That's like trying to be able to help people because wherever I go, I help people. Like a very quantum leap. He ends up in this universe and he can't leave until he helps somebody.
He's trying to jump back home, isn't he?
Yes, but it's not particularly working, and the only way he can jump to the next universe is by helping somebody, it turns out.
Yeah, and finding the source of... What was it, like source of light? At least in the demo, he was always looking for something that was going to be used as a power source, right?
Yes, he finds plenty of power sources throughout.
But only one true power source.
I don't think that ever ends up being the case, but it is like a lot of like there is a lot going on with it. I think at one point you end up in Collage World, and that's like the biggest, like zaniest one because you're being chased by a giant collage monster, and that's pretty funny. But no, it ends up in a lot of surreal, like, oh, I'm just like at one point he ends up in again, it gets real meta and you end up like in an art museum with all of the worlds you visited. It just like becomes like a whole thing. It definitely went some places. I really liked it. And I think that more people should check out the multi-medium.
Nice. It was real crisp and concise.
Yeah. I mean, I think that with these kind of games, they're just little, like you ever have soup dumplings?
Not often.
It's just like a dumpling that has soup in it, right? And
yeah, but
that's a real hard thing to do, but it's just like a little bite-sized little little treat, little snack.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like that's multi-medium is just like a little like, oh, you bite it and you're like, oh, that was pretty good. It's pretty good. Wasn't anything crazy, but it was very pleasant.
You want to talk about crazy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
what would you
attribute
Yakuza or Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth to if it were a food or meal?
Boy, I really want to say a Hawaiian dish because that's what the game is like right now, but I imagine that it would be probably something obscene, something that shouldn't exist.
What about a Vegas smorgasbord?
Like yeah, but it would have to be like one of the restaurants that you go to in Vegas and you get like a deconstructed sandwich. Something just that looks insane too.
And it would be it'd be off strip. Like you'd be like an off strip buffet. That you're kind of like.
I really don't like the buffet comparison. It does have a lot, but when I think of it, I think of something that's just like, wow, this is a lot of really good pieces and not everything that I need. but this is also just crazy to look at and experience.
Okay. Tell me about it.
All right, I'm only going to talk about first couple of chapters. The first, I don't even know if I'll get...
Getty, how's the Animal Crossing?
I have not gotten to Animal Crossing.
Okay, so no Dundoko Island. How about the Pokemons?
Have not gotten to that either.
Jesus. What have you even
done? Do you know how many hours I've... Hold on. What have I done? Hold on. I am like level 25. I have no business being level 25 at this point.
How are the dungeons?
But I'm just going around and haven't gotten any dungeons yet.
Jeez.
36 hours in, and I'm just going around doing all of the side missions and all the side quests right now.
Okay, so the main ones that I've seen are the Pokemon and the Dundoko Island Animal Crossing.
Right. Nope, haven't gotten to those yet. But what you need to know is that everything about Yakuza is there. And it just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah. Did they figure out why he was naked yet?
Yeah, he got drugged and he was placed on the beach. Somebody, the person that drugged him stole his passport, all of his money. I had like $1,000 at that point, and it's all gone. And then, your clothes.
Does anything carry over from the last game?
You don't... No, not really. Not at all.
Okay.
But I like the way that they constantly allude to the first game. Like, oh yeah, Pound Mates, which is like the summoning system in the first game.
Uh-huh.
He like completely forgot that it existed. And then he gets to Hawaii and he runs into this person. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like, do you? But at one point he's like, yeah, I deleted all the stuff off of my phone. So when you meet the Pokemon doctor, he's like, all of that data lost forever. Now you're going to have to do it all over again.
Really? So there's a whole in-game, like there's an in-game explanation.
Yeah, they allude to the fact that your character's just useless. But he's a great guy.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy.
So I'll tell you what I did play so far.
Okay.
I played the dating game.
Okay.
I've been catfished 3 times.
Wow.
I played it 4 times, catfished 3 times.
Brutal.
And the catfishing is just as weird as you would think. So you'll send messages. It's a dating app. You'll try and guess or type in what they want to hear. And then after you complete all of these things, you get pictures, and then you eventually meet the person. Mm-hmm. And one of the actual one person that I met, it's like an FMV. It's this girl just walking around and talking for a minute or so. But the other ones, the catfish, it does like this close up, and then you see that it's one of the enemies that you would fight in the game.
Oh,
like, it'll be a flasher guy, and then he'll be like, ha ha ha, that kind of thing,
and you have to
flash you. No, you don't. Oh. You don't have to fight him.
Okay, so then the other question is FMV.
But you don't really get to interact. It's just like a video.
It's a full motion video, right? It's not. It's like a person, right? It's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick.
An actual actor, and it is embedded in the game.
That's sick. That's absolutely sick.
I was like, oh, this is not a catfish. This is kind of interesting. But there's no way to tell easily which person that you select on the dating app is going to be a catfish or not. So it's really hit or miss. I want to say that there's, don't quote me on this, but I think there's about 20 like different people that you can date on the app.
Okay.
How much am I going to play into it? I might just give it another couple of goes. Probably not do all of them. I've now played the photo game, which is like Pokemon Snap.
Yep, there's Pokemon Snap. I forgot.
But what you're looking for is weirdos. And it is guys, like big buff guys in tiny little like bathing suits, gyrating and thrusting their hips.
Yeah, you are.
So that one is pretty entertaining. It's like, oh, look at all these freaks. Yeah, I take pictures of these freaks, and then the cops find them. And yeah, you get points, and you can use those points to unlock different stuff in game. And then Crazy Taxi.
Oh, yeah, Crazy Taxi. I forgot that Crazy Taxi's in there. Actually, Crazy Taxi or a mini game?
It is a mini game where you deliver food.
Right.
So you ride your bicycle around the island, picking up the food and then dropping it off at people.
How much have you been on the Segway?
I have the Segway. I have not used it. Okay. But I heard that the Segway explodes.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's part of the story. Yeah. It's like, oh, look, I made this. Also, it can explode. It's like, that's not safe. Please don't.
Wait until you see some hula people.
Yeah, I really need to get much further into it to see what all these other systems are about. But so far, it's been pretty tame. The story, as you would expect from a Yakuza game, it's all over the place. You've got past characters that from the series visiting. You got some new characters that you're making friends with. It's all just, it's so much fun. And I love these games just for that reason. Is that it's serious, but at the same time it's silly. At one point, they allude once again to the fact that Ichiban is so insane that he thinks that all of the enemies that you run into are transforming into like demons. It's just like a regular guy on the street, and he's like, oh, there's this guy, and then he'll change shape, and they're like, oh yeah, you said that once, you weirdo. So
it's a different combat system, is it not?
It's the same.
Oh, I thought this one had
now it's a little bit more
like 3D or something, more movement based or placement based.
Nope, it's the same thing. You have a little bit more room to move around, but I think it's Kiryu. He has a different system of fighting than any of the other characters that I had before, because his are loosely based on what he was able to do back in the other Yakuza games.
Yeah, you get 3 fighting styles.
Yeah, so you can switch between them on the fly, one round after the other. You don't have to, depend on one. So I'm getting used to that and trying to get to know the other character that I unlocked. Yeah, so I'll be playing this game for at least another 90 hours, I imagine.
Yes, it's very long.
And that's just me putzing around.
I heard the final chapter is like 10 hours.
I believe it. Usually it's very heavy on the videos, all of the cutscenes. All right, so Alex.
Yes.
I promised an extra segment tonight.
Let's do it.
And I'm still trying to workshop the name.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to tell you what you are going to do.
Uh-huh.
Because I want you to be the bad guy tonight.
Okay.
And then we're going to figure out what we want to call this segment.
Okay.
All right?
Let's do this.
So I want you to rank these games. There are 5 games that I'm going to give you.
Uh-huh.
And I want you to rank them based on how you feel about the soundtrack. Okay?
Okay, rank. Let's see if I can do this.
All right, hold on. I'm going to copy and paste this over into our chat so that you see all of the game names. I am putting them in no particular order, okay?
Hit me.
And then we will tell everybody what they are as well.
I'll read them out loud.
All right, so these are the games that I want you to rank tonight.
Okay. Okay. No, I could do this.
I made it. I'm trying to make it a little bit difficult. I think that some of these are much better than others, but yes. I want you to do it.
All right, so we're going to call this spot ranking.
I like worst to first or the list, because we are making a definitive list for you.
Okay, I can do worst to first. All right, worst to first.
Worst to first.
All right, soundtracks. Out of all these soundtracks...
all right, what are the games that you got to pick between?
Bastion. Nier. I assume that's Gestalt. Replicant.
No, we're doing Automata.
All right, Automata. So I got to write that. Automata. Not Automatica. Is that how you spell it? Auto. Automata. There. Final Fantasy IX. Super Mario 64. And Sonic 2. Okay, now this is very...
And Sonic 2.
Yes, and while it pains me to say...
What's the worst?
Final Fantasy IX. And
Final Fantasy IX is the worst?
Now, here's why. Tell me one classic Final Fantasy IX track. While we all know it's a Final Fantasy from 1 to 10, beautifully orchestrated soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Some of the most memorable RPG music experienced across the board. Final Fantasy IX, I can't tell you one. No, I can tell you one. It was Vivi's theme. And that's... Oh, and the card game music.
And?
Yeah, because it was different.
And there was one other that I was hoping that you would remember, but that's okay.
What was that?
The one that's like right at the beginning when you are doing the stage performance. Because that one was pretty catchy too.
Oh, I kind of remember what you're saying, but I'm still on the Vivi's theme. Yeah, okay, I'm onto it. But like there's nothing there that's like swelling, emotional, like that memorable. I had to re-listen to Vivi's theme just now. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So next,
so that is number 5.
Yes.
What do you got it for?
This is a tough one. It's either Sonic 2 or Super Mario 64.
Ooh, all right.
I can think of
Both
a bunch
classics.
of songs from Sonic 2, and I could think of like 3 songs from Mario 64. I don't know.
So what's your ruling?
What?
What is it? What are you going to do?
This is tough. This is more of a preference on me because
yes, it is.
I was a Sonic kid. I beat Sonic 2 like 27,000 times. I beat Mario 64 like 6 times.
All right.
So based off of that alone, I got to go Super Mario 64 in spot 4, Sonic 2 in spot 3.
Okay. So we're almost there.
The top one, Bastion or Nier Automata?
Uh-huh. That's the tough one. What comes out on top?
Oh, man. That's a toss-up because I really like them both. I really loved Bastion's music. But I feel like Nier Automata's music, I don't know. That thing screams epic to me.
That's fair. We have gone and seen that in concert.
Yes, which also may be why it's more stand out to me. But I think for my money, it's Nier Automata, Bastion, Sonic 2, Super Mario 64, Final Fantasy 9.
Okay.
That's my worst to first. Worst is Final Fantasy 9, best Nier Automata.
All right. This was just a test. I wanted to see how this worked out, and it feels like it went pretty well.
It's more about like you got to explain your thoughts here, because like there are definitely, and we got to like, because I'm over here like, okay, I'm gonna pull up some of my favorite tracks. I'm gonna think what these tracks are, try to like dig into the history banks of like what did I experience.
Oh yeah, but 100% just trying to put you on the spot and see what you could do with that in not even, I think we did it in under 5 minutes, maybe.
I've heard of this kind of game, but the funnier thing to do is to make it so it's like, all right, rank, bread, Skittles, cars, air conditioning. It's like, okay.
That's just mean.
Yeah.
I at least picked things in the same genre.
No, but I like it. I like the fact that you were like picking like you could pick like best graphics and then just like pick like pixel art versus realism and make it real.
We can.
Yeah, that sounds real funny. I like this.
Really can.
I like this.
Are you? So you are on the podcast next week.
Yeah.
And who do you have with you?
I got Joel and Alec, and I think that I could do a worst to first on them for sure.
All right. I think that this is probably the opportunity to try it out on those two guys. Maybe do the graphics and see what kind of answers we get. I feel like it'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I can come up with that for sure.
Just a quick thought experiment. Just trying new stuff out. Have a little bit of fun while, it's just you and me fill out the episode, right?
Let's get weird.
I try. I don't try very well, but... All right, so we're going to move over to one last thing. And this week's one last thing is brought to you by Summer Vacation.
Woo!
Because everybody else can't be bothered to be on this podcast.
Hey,
Is it true?
I still got to take 2 more days off this podcast.
I mean, do what you need to, man. Unfortunately, I will be MIA next week.
That's fine.
I'm going to have to find out what happened in like 2 weeks.
You'll be away with Ichiban.
I wish we were going to Hawaii, but Bahamas is a nice second, I guess. All right, my one last thing is I will have no internet connection, so I'm going to depend on my Steam Deck to get me through whenever I am not sitting through meetings for the next week.
Just ignore your spouse. Let's do this.
Man, she's going to have it so nice. She doesn't have to go to any of these meetings. She'll get good dinners. She could go hang out at the casino all day if she wants to.
Oh, there's a casino on the boat?
There's a casino. There's like 15 bars, 6 pools.
What kind of boat is this?
It's a cruise ship.
Man, I've never been a cruise ship that had more than 2 bars.
Every level seems to have 4 bars on it.
Jeez.
I wish I was lying. I think one of them's like a ice cream bar.
Perfect.
I need to go to that one.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, what do you got?
I am slowly cracking down on the Persona 3 Reloaded. I really kind of wanted to get this one off my plate, knock it out. I'm nearing the end of October of the game that goes till January. I feel pretty good right now. I also got that portable monitor just so I can play PlayStation without taking up the TV. So I am super pumped. And Power Wash Simulator DLC dropped, and I instantly 100%ed it all. I am back to feeling nothing. I am empty inside.
It's got to be an empty feeling.
I'm empty inside, Getty. I'm empty inside.
It's okay. You'll find that game someday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Until then, we'll just end the episode.
That's good.
Don't let Alex feel empty. Help him.
Fill me with emails.
How can you help us? Yeah. So that'll be it for this week's episode of Super GG Radio. Before we go, you can find us on X at Super GG Radio. Alex will respond back to you in real time. He'll live tweet his life if he needs to.
I will.
And twitch.tv/Super GG Radio, where, well, we didn't record our podcast tonight, but big news, epic news here. Alex, what is happening on Wednesdays?
Before we even started this podcast, I started streaming myself on my personal channel, playing a little thing called Dark Souls, and every time I would die, I would be drinking from a 40. I'm gonna be doing this again. Getty, we got that Demon Souls remastered for the PlayStation 5. I have a portable monitor. I have 240 sitting in my fridge. Wednesdays will not be Dark Souls. Let's do this.
I am looking forward to catching up on that when I get home.
It's entirely
First stream is...
It's entirely your fault.
I know it's my fault. I feel responsible, and I can't wait to watch it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So coming up this Wednesday, check out Drunk Souls with Alex. You know I want to.
Hell yeah.
All right. If you'd like to reach us with questions or input, our email address is mail@superggradio.com, and provide us a review on iTunes or the podcast app of your choice. Please also check out our Patreon, where you can get monthly pictures of our dogs, get your name read off as an executive producer, free copies of early adopter games. You get everything. You can even hang out and play games with us if you want.
That's the thing. That's the tier.
You can. That's a thing we will do.
Force Getty to hang out.
I guess if somebody pays to do it. can't really deny them, right?
Hell yeah. I might sign up for this tier just to get you to hang out with me.
That's one way to do it, man. And it all goes to the kids. We're not even keeping that Patreon money. We're using it for our Extra Life. It goes as donations. And we got that coming up in just a couple of months. About 3 months now. Whew.
I gotta start getting on that.
Yeah, we all do. All right, thanks for listening, and good game, Alex.
GG, Getty.
That's it. I don't have anybody else to GG.
Good night, Alex.